Welcome and thank you for joining the TVU Networks panel in 2023, Create 24/7 OTT TV channels using the cloud, hosted by Fergal Ringrose. The event will begin shortly. Please note that this is a Zoom webinar format, which means that you are unable to share your camera and microphone. If you have any questions throughout the panel, you can use the Q&A section and your question will be answered at the end of the presentation. Welcome and thank you for joining the TVU Networks panel in 2023, Create 24/7 OTT TV channels using the cloud, hosted by Fergal Ringrose. The event will begin in a few minutes. Please note that this is a Zoom webinar format, which means that you are unable to share your camera and microphone. If you have any questions throughout the panel, you can use the Q&A section and your questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Welcome and thank you for joining. The panel will begin in 2 minutes. People are still connecting. Welcome everybody, and thank you again for joining the TVU Networks panel in 2023, Create 24/7 OTT TV Channels Using the Cloud, hosted by Fergal Ringrose. The event will begin shortly. People are still connecting. Please note that this is a Zoom webinar format, which means that you are unable to share your camera and microphone. If you have any questions throughout the panel, you can use the Q&A section, and your question will be answered at the end of the presentation. Hello and welcome to the TVU Networks panel in 2023, Create 24/7 OTT TV Channels Using the Cloud, hosted by Fergal Ringrose. I will now hand over to Fergal.
Hello and welcome to this latest TVU webinar in 2023, Create 24/7 OTT TV Channels Using the Cloud. This is actually our second webinar this week. Earlier in the week, we recorded a session titled The Best Way to Produce in 2023, which is now available on the TVU Networks YouTube channel, or else you can just reach out to us at tvunetworks.com if you would like more information. So before we get started, a word about the company. Founded in 2005 and headquartered in Mountain View, California, TVU Networks is a global organization with more than 3,000 customers using its IP and cloud-based workflow solutions across multiple industries, including news, entertainment, media, sports, corporate, streaming, houses of worship, and government. The company is on the forefront of developing the tools needed to revolutionize and streamline the media supply chain. TVU is a technology and engineering Emmy Award winner and has major offices in Barcelona and Shanghai. I'm Fergal Ringrose, independent writer and editor in the broadcast production and technology space. I'm delighted to be your host today. Most recently, I was live production editor of NAB Amplify. Before that, I was editorial director for Sports Video Group Europe. During that time as well, I actually was founding editor and executive editor of the IBC 365 content platform. Before that, I was editor of the IBC Daily newspaper for a number of years and also editor of TVB Europe magazine for 20 years. It's my pleasure now to introduce my three TVU Networks speakers bringing their expertise to today's webinar. Jean-Christophe Albou is Sales Director Europe for TVU Networks. Jean-Christophe has decades of experience working for solutions providers, including Avid, LiveView, Telestream, and Thomson, and has a strong knowledge of the European market. Hi, Jean-Christophe.
Hi, everyone. I wish you a good day, and I'm very excited to be part of this webinar where we will present some of the solutions that you need to create a fast channel, but also answering most of your questions.
Fernando Pinto-Yes is TVU Networks Head of Solutions for EMEA. Fernando is a technical expert with 20 years plus experience, including Disney ESPN. Fernando, hi.
Hi, Fergal, and hi, everybody. Really excited to be part of the webinar. Okay, thank you very much.
And Yoni Tayar is Global Marketing Director at TVU Networks. Yoni has a global view on customer pain points and the creative workflows the company is currently developing. Hi, Yoni.
Hi, Fergal, and hi, everyone again. For the one that joined like last panel 2 days ago, hi again, and hi to the new one. Happy New Year to all, and let's get started.
Okay, actually, before we get going, we did learn at the webinar 2 days ago that a number of the participants we're a little bit surprised by the depth and strength and breadth of the TVU ecosystem. So Jean-Christophe, I wonder, could we just start? Maybe you could just take us through the ecosystem for a few minutes.
Yes, so thanks for giving me the opportunity. It is true that TVU solutions are unique, as we are the only company in the world that brings all the different tools and components needed to create, produce, and distribute the content, either using on-premise infrastructure solutions or using cloud technologies. So when you look to the TVU ecosystem, on the left, you see that TVU accepts most of the standard broadcast quality grade inputs, but also IP inputs. And we do transport those inputs to one or multiple destinations and output. Either they are traditional broadcast grade destinations or IP outputs. Then we have, then you see on the top, we have many tools that allows you to produce that content with minimum infrastructure, but also search into this content using advanced AI technologies, then distribute that content to one or hundred of destinations using cloud scaling. Those tools are not only simple, but again, broadcast quality grade. We have more than 15 years of experience in this industry. What also is equally important is those tools are natively integrated and connected together. So you are not confused with various interfaces. It reduces significantly your training time and eliminates the need and the risk of going to complicated third-party integrations with multiple vendors. That is the summary in a short way.
That's great. Thanks, JC. Great overview, and I think a great basis for today's discussion, which is it's an open discussion that'll run for, we think, about 45 minutes, including the Q&A. If you would like to ask a question, just put it in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and I'll get to it before the end of the show at the Q&A. Thank you. Now, we all know that the way people watch content is changing really quickly, with linear TV consumption is certainly decreasing as more and more competitive platforms are released every year. So keeping up where the audience is going to reach as many eyeballs as possible with the right content is increasingly challenging. Yet tools are seeing the light of day to keep up with the rapid industry transformation. But at the same time, TV acronyms surround us: OTT, CTV, FAST. And so it may be helpful just to start today's discussion by providing some context behind these acronyms. Yoni, I'll turn to you first. Can you help in outlining which media platforms can capture more eyeballs in 2023 and therefore help monetization for content owners?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, like a fast moving market and fast changing market that we are all dealing with. We are all very familiar with like OTT. I mean, over-the-top platform like DAZN, Hulu, Disney, Netflix. I mean, you name it, there are hundreds of them. But like, what is interesting is to see where the eyeball are going. So in the past, I mean, most of the eyeball used to be on cable TV. Nothing new about that. It used to be like maybe 9 people out of 10 that had just TV delivered to their home. And nowadays we are more talking about like 5 to 6 people out of 10 that have like actually like connection to like the public TV network. Most of the viewers have moved to OTT services. And that's why today it will be interesting to understand how content owners and content such as broadcasters use agencies, but also like content owners who have their own like maybe YouTube channels or fishing channel or whatever, are able to like benefit of the evolution of the media industry. So OTT is one segment that basically you can access OTT via a CTV device. Okay, a CTV device is your Apple TV or your PlayStation 5, your mobile device, you name it, that allow you to access like an OTT platform. But CTV, which we call connected TV, is any type of device that boasts digital video streaming abilities. Again, you will access it with your Fire Stick from Amazon or your PlayStation, but that allows you access to a very wide section of like content, including fast channels. What is fast channels? I mean, it's not like new in a way, but it's like free advertising supported TV And it's basically like, instead of paying with a paid subscription on a monthly basis, it's giving access to your content through and making the viewers pay for advertising. I mean, basically, you are going to insert like ad breaks in between your content, and the viewers, like the eyeballs, are going to generate the revenue. And we will see like what are the market trends toward like fast and OTT, so that you understand why it's important to know where the eyeballs are moving. Before like just going into this detail, I wanted to share with you something interesting that I just happened to listen to this morning, and I thought it was so appropriate with today's webinar and discussion. It's out of the industry. We are moving to the color industry, but like we are all using colors nowadays. And today, Pantone, for those that are not familiar, Pantone is the company that define like every year like the color trend for the year that is going to be used by designer, like so graphic designer, fashion designer, the entertainment industry, you name it. And they always set a color trend for the year. So you will see a lot of this during the year. And the 2023 color that was announced last week is Viva Magenta, which is like basically like a kind of like red magenta, like a very strong red, a nice red. But moving away from the color, what I found interesting is so they give a meaning to the color and the meaning of the year. And what you see here is basically a new animated red that reveals in pure joy, encouraging experimentation and self-expression without restraint. And this is really interesting, the encouraging experimentation, because I think this is what the media industry is moving toward, is that before experimenting was very costly. Let's say you want to create a new channel. I mean, that's a big project. That's a lot of dollars behind. And you will see the return on investment in many months. It's not going to be something instantaneous. And we're going to see through that panel today and discussion that actually all these new technologies and development in like infrastructure, like cloud-based infrastructure and bandwidth that is improving at an amazing rate, and 5G, etc., are allowing us today to be free of all these constraints and really encouraging you to experiment your content in different places, different platforms, and really find your way much faster than before. So I am sorry for that interlude, but I thought it was very interesting and accurate for today. And for those who didn't know about Pantone, it's interesting, and that will hopefully like teach you a new thing. It taught me one thing today.
A colorful example. Thank you, Yanni. So are we still in a model where social platforms and OTT platforms are capturing all of the audience, or are there more places the content should be in order to grow market share and revenue? Jean-Christophe, can you shed some light on some of the viewing trends we're seeing?
Yeah, thanks, Fagel. So at first, I would like to share with you some numbers to better understand the context and the current trends. As today, 60% of adults subscribe to cable TV as of April 2022. But this will drop with all the surveys that we have today to only 25% within the next 3 years. So interestingly, 83% of those adults watch YouTube video content on their television. And more than 30 minutes of those contents are actually being watched daily. So it's not just only a single clip on YouTube, it's really various content being watched daily on television. That said, overall, nowadays, television is the second most popular screen after mobile, which is leading now with 93%. So in short way, the money that's coming from the traditional TV advertisement, it's just declining. And the only way for broadcasters to recover and even grow their actual ad revenue is to be everywhere, to send their content not only to linear TV, but to multiple platforms simultaneously. By doing so, it allows customized advertisements on those multiple platforms, meaning you can maximize new revenue with geographic and demographic targeted local advertisements. And this is possible by doing fast channel. Maybe, Yoni, you would like also to comment on the spending on the ads on connected TV for the last years.
Yeah, so like what I would like to say is definitely, I mean, the ad spends show you where like people are moving toward. Is that like most of like the CTV devices normally were used for OTT, and now you see that actually the ad spend is like growing exponentially. I mean, we are talking about like 100 billions by 2030. So it's definitely like a massive opportunities that broadcasters need to tap into, because today it's mainly like OTT providers that are tapping into that environment. And like why the ad spend is going there is because people and eyeballs are switching more and more to like paid advertising content. Like, so instead of going for an OTT subscription, they prefer to watch content and just see some advertising here and there. And while maybe it's a trend that we don't see much, I just happened to come back from the US, where my wife family is from, during the holidays. And I was surprised to see that the TV was on all day long. And what it was playing all day long was actually fast channels. It was not OTT. Like on the background, it was just like random channel on extreme sports or other things that were like just played all day long. So this is really a trend that has started like 2 or 3 years ago, and now that is growing exponentially. And it's important for media companies to tap into that huge dollar opportunity or euro opportunity, you call it as you want. There is a lot of money to be made out of your content, new content or old content. So that's what I would add. And one last point is more like for like people that are doing live, like broadcasters. I think there is a unique opportunity for them, because today that market is mainly used with like recorded content, pre-recorded content, and broadcasters have that unique infrastructure and workflow in place to also insert live into these channels. And live is like, we don't show the statistics here, but live is growing incredibly, like at a fast rate. People want more live content, more live video. And 56% of the live video that are being watched on the web today are breaking news. So it's really like a unique position for broadcasters to like not only create OTT channel of their own, using like paid advertising to monetize this channel, and insert live to get like a unique value out of their channel. Okay.
Great, thanks, Yoni. So expanding your audience reach across all of these platforms is, of course, critical. But undertaking such projects, launching new channels on several media platforms, is known to be costly, and it requires a number of skill sets without a guarantee that the new channels will be a success. Fernando, is there a way to reach these audiences without that risk?
Well, thank you, Fergal. I guess we are now talking about a really good and interesting and important point, okay? That it's like Johnny and JC were discussing before, and that is the experimentation, okay? The ability to experiment with whatever workflow you need to to put in place, okay? We all know that before in the broadcast industry, like you said, you needed to invest a huge amount of dollars, right? Huge amount of investment to put in place different broadcast and system infrastructure to spin up and activate your broadcast channels, okay? On top of that, obviously you will need to have space and the data center, right? And in order to do so, right? You also will need to have operators that are highly trained in those kind of systems, right? You have content operations, ad sales operations, right? You have live production operations behind what we call, or we used to call, the MCR, okay, environment. And then, of course, you will need to put in place the distribution part of the whole chain, right? And again, this is another huge investment for broadcasters, okay? But the rise of cloud native solution allows you to experiment on new channels and new ways of distributing your content in an entirely free way, okay? In obviously without risk, okay? It's just a matter of, like we discussed in the last webinar, spin up and spin down different microservices in the cloud, okay? Then you will get to connect all the parts together and you will have the workflow, right? Once you have the content, you can start your own channel, like we are about to see start putting in place your workflow, okay, and your own distribution, right? Like we are seeing in the slide that we are sharing right now, everybody knows how to create a Google Calendar setup, okay? Because everybody's super familiarized with that, okay? So the concept around TVU channel is based on how easy it is to control, operate, and create the channel, okay, the schedule. It's super easy to use. It's basically a Google Calendar, okay. So I guess main topics here for experimentation, risk-free experimentation. It's one itself that you are able to experiment. You are able to try whenever you have the content. You are able to try to reach those type of audiences, different audiences that you may have, and start monetizing that content. You don't need that much of training like before. Everybody can operate this really easy and really fast, okay? It's gonna be an MCR-like operation also, okay? Because like Johnny were mentioning before, broadcasters are used to go back and forth. I mean, the type of operation is like between live events and then commercials, auto promos, right? And then recordings for previous shows and so on, okay? So it's like going back and forth between pre-recorded content and live content, okay? So streaming channels used to be like only for VOD, video on demand, and everything was based on recorded content, okay? So content. And again, lastly, it's gonna be totally risk-free, okay? You put in place a workflow that it's microservices running in the cloud, and then you can keep that if you need to, or you can spin that down, okay, whenever you need, okay? So again, I'm referring to this because I mean the going back and forth between live content and recorded content, because one important thing to remember that we need to have in mind these days, in the last years, right? Production of live content is growing faster than ever before, okay? So again, live content matters, okay? So I guess that resumes a little bit, okay, of the experimentation that is allowed nowadays, okay? I don't know, JC, if you want to comment on these type of concepts, okay? Thank you.
So I think as you all said, I think it's very important to mention that we have seen over the last year more and more viewers requesting access to live. So since 2020, live stream content has grown in viewership more than video on demand. So the solution is to have a seamless VOD switching between live and scheduled programming. And it's true that broadcast is uniquely positioned to offer live and VOD content without adding resources or specific assets.
Okay, so we're saying that creating a channel can be done entirely in the cloud without infrastructure from a computer and from anywhere. So Yoni, what are the benefits of this for broadcasters in 2023?
I won't repeat again the word experimentation. I just did. But to me, that's the main one. And I just want to take a very concrete example because it was striking in Barcelona. So Barcelona, because that's where our headquarters is built. So, and I love Barcelona. The biggest festival of the year in Barcelona, which happens around November, is called La Mercè, and it would be like the 14th of July in France. This kind of, I mean, it's like a big event, okay, that has like millions of people attending over 4 days. And what the national broadcasters of Catalonia did, BTV, is that they just decided really at the last minute. It was, 2 days before it even started. They were like, oh, let's try to actually spin off a channel that will be like available 24/7 to like just give access to the entire program of that festival, which is going throughout the whole city, concerts, theater. I mean, it's like so many events going on. And they just wanted to create a channel dedicated for that event. And so they took the decision 2 days before the event, and literally in a couple of hours, they just set up the channel. And I think Fernando actually will show you like their channel, their schedule, how they set it up. And that's amazing. That things that were not available people. And that channel actually got like hundreds, thousands of viewers that normally, they didn't have anything. They were just like using some of the highlights and inserting it in their newscast, like daily newscast. Now they were able to just have a dedicated channel for that. So that's just allowing you to see what kind of experimentation they can do and how fast they can do that. Instead of like before, like they would have just not done it because it would have taken like months of preparation. Okay, other benefits that are really important with that solution, we've seen a lot of like ransomware attacks. Unfortunately, it's growing, not necessarily in the broadcast. We see it in every kind of field. But if we were to talk about broadcast, for example, like M6, in 2019, was like attacked by a ransomware over the weekend that has made a lot of noise. That's very famous, but that's just one example amongst many. St. Clair, one of the biggest broadcaster in the US last year, got also attacked. And well, when that had happened, it can like lead to your program, live program being down, and it can lead to like a bunch of other issues. Other issues that can happen outside of ransomware can be like bad weather, etc. There can be tons of problems or just simply bad luck, who knows. But what I mean is that like you don't want to lose your program, and you don't want your program to get down for 1 second. And having a channel solution entirely based in the cloud, and we'll see with like basically no cost to like very little cost compared to traditional channel, it's hugely beneficial. Basically, you can create a mirror of your broadcast schedule into the cloud and have a fully redundant channel without any added stuff. Like Fernando just showed before, it's just a calendar. It's like managing a Google Calendar. I'm not an engineer. I have no like years of experience in playout and all, and I can create my own channel in a matter of minutes. That's how simple it is to set. Okay, so that's, I think, what is like really key. And again, like what Jean-Christophe just presented at the beginning to all of you, the TVU ecosystem, is that all in the cloud, you can not only have access to your own content, but you can also go and take live content from your reporter smartphones and just like put breaking live, like if there is like a breaking news happening in London or whatever, you can like just like breaking news that easily, or even take feeds from broadcaster all around the world, or like distribution platform called Grid is also connected to our channel platform. So you could have access to content from France TV or like AFP or whatever. Whatever content you want to access, as long as you have the partnership or the connection, can be all accessed in the cloud, stream into your channel, breaking news whenever that happens, and go live across multiple platform, digital platform, OTT, social, website, you name it. Okay, so that's really powerful. And so that would be a must and like really the benefits that it brings to broadcaster, as you asked, for example.
Yeah, Yoni, so I think it's true to also mention that the mantra in TV station is no repeat. So really trying to offer to wider audience new content. And that actually gives a chance to offline content, to video content to be seen again and be monetized. So actually with TVU channel, you can just create more channels in seconds, giving a new life again to content. And this tool is absolutely very easy to operate. It can just be operated by anyone who just know how to use a Google Calendar, again, with no infrastructure. So that you may be a broadcast or you can be a content owner, TVU will allow you to really reach a much wider audience. And I think it's interesting, we have an example, if Christelle, you might bring this to life, is the content can not only come from super famous owners, but it can just come for people who have a specific passion. So we have this example in France, which is the fishing example, where there's a famous YouTube channel, but it's only a YouTube channel which is a specific audience, but they have thousands of subscribers, and this becomes more and more interesting. So, but the issue is that this YouTube channel is actually operating by someone who has no experience in television. It's not an engineer, it's not an operator. So, and TVU channel offered this unique chance for content owner to create a linear 24 channel without no experience. So it's just trying to access live content, but also already recording content and put it live and pushing this content to multiple platforms in just seconds and clicks, like using a Google Calendar.
And just bouncing on that, because I see we have that question in the list of questions, which is also, by the way, if you have any question, feel free to add them in the Q&A at the bottom, and we will answer the one that we are not answering right now at the end of that panel. But like, so one of the question is about like, what is the entry cost implication? And so like, what JC is explaining is that like these people can actually like put their content across multiple platforms, and the entry cost depending on what you're going for. So if you're going for a solution that we talked about, which is using like fast technology, meaning you're planning to have advertising on your channel, like TVU actually give you free access to their channel platform, which we call TVU Channel Plus, and you will get paid. So that's like based on like the US price and European price, but depending on your country and the value of your advertising, which is defined by the partnership with advertiser, that is all managed through TVU Channel Plus, you will be paid like 5 cents per viewing hours, or 5 cents per viewing hours. So that can really, in a year spent, if you have like a couple thousands of viewers, that easily can generate $1 million plus of revenue across just a year. So that's like insane, I mean, if you ask me. And that's like really, in many cases, like untapped revenue channel, and all the synchronization with the advertising platform and all, that's all handled by TVU. So that's one option. The other option in terms of entry cost is that if you just want to own the channel entirely, and whether you put advertising or not, I mean, you want to own that process entirely, we are talking about 1,950 euro per month. And remember that it's all cloud native. So you don't need to download anything. You don't need to commit to anything. You can actually like pay just a monthly subscription. And if you want to take it down, you take it down. So it's like, that's what we are talking about, is like really the entry cost is minimal. It's really minimal. And it's why it's allowing you to do so much experimentation without any risk, like Fernando mentioned.
Yeah, and just to come to another point is, again, this content that you want to turn live using fast channel can be from any sources, but it can also be created and produced within the TVU solution. So again, using cloud infrastructure, you may be able to get any live content, produce it natively, and then push it to the fast channel in just a matter of clicks.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. And so at this point, before we get to the Q&A, and I can see there's a number of good questions there already, maybe we can just show our audience with the TVU solution how you can create a channel literally in a few minutes. So Fernando, if you want to take over and just take us through what is possible.
Absolutely, Fergal, thank you very much. You see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So I highlighted my pointer, so you would know where am I, right? So this is our Workbench dashboard. It's the dashboard that we use to control, create, manage the channel instances, different channel programs that we want to create and we are going to have. Okay, it's really easy to use. You can see that I can create a channel real quick. Okay, I have also another testing channels instances that I was working on. Okay, so creating a channel, as I said, it's really easy. I'm gonna click on create channel. Okay, I'm gonna name the channel. Okay, this is gonna be a channel test for webinar. Okay, and you can select different flavors on the video resolution. Okay, for the sake of the webinar, I'm gonna select the first one. Okay, and you will click save. Okay, and that's it. You just created a channel, as simple as that. Okay. Within the three dots, you can define multiple features and functionalities for that channel. Okay. So you can select the cover. So you will see different covers for different type of content channels. Okay. You can define the region that this service is going to run in. Okay. And then you can define, as I said, different type of functionalities. Okay, so in terms of content, if you want to see different content folders, you can select those here. Okay, you can define what is the broadcast date and format for that channel, and you can also define the EPG you are going to use, different templates, whether to use your own S3 bucket, your own storage, or if you are going to use TVU cloud-based storage, also that it's an S3 bucket in the backend. Also, you can define external graphics. Okay, so you can define multiple features and functionalities. Okay, as I said. Okay, so once you create a channel, you can go directly into it in an offline mode. Okay, but also you can start the channel. Okay, so the difference this has is that when you start the channel, it will start consuming resources. Okay, but if you work in an offline mode, you can start using the channel and the user interface right away without consuming basically resources. Okay, and that is for let's say starting to create your own schedules. Okay, ahead of time. Okay. So also you can turn on and off your channel from here. Okay, so let's start the output channel. Okay, the output module. So this is the user interface and how it looks like, and then we can see a message here that it's telling us that okay, resources are being put together. Okay, while we can start working with our channel. Okay, with the schedules or different things that we needed to do. Okay, going back to the Workbench, while the channel is turning on, I already have a channel that is already running. Okay, let's hit enter here. So basically, what I have here is exactly the same that I just showed you. Okay. I have on the left side, I have a preview that I can use to preview content and make sure that the content is the one that I want to use. Okay, and you can see different type of content, and if you were to have different type of folders, you will see those folders here. Okay, for different type of content. Let's say you want to have commercials, promos, auto promos, bumpers, full shows, separate by folders. You can do that, and then we will have live sources. Okay, tab, and this is the tab that we will be using to select different live sources. For example, you can have external sources. Okay, TVU packs TVU transmitters, right? If you have those anywhere applications, right? The mobile application itself, okay? It's really easy to add different news sources, okay, to this tab. Like Johnny mentioned before, we can have different grid sources, okay? Those are sources that are available through the TVU ecosystem right away, okay? You can use those, right? If you have some other grid pack sources, RTMP, and et cetera, okay? So this is how you can start using live sources. So it's really easy to operate and to start building your own channel. You just simply drag and drop. Sorry, let's go to the current time, okay? And put this here, and then you will see that event with a half an hour predefined by default time. That is also editable, so you can control that. You can start pulling different sources from your live sources tab and start creating your schedule. Okay, it's really easy to use. Okay, it's just a drag and drop. Okay, so I have different type of sources here. So if I want to see, for example, sources that in a previous way, right? I would just click on the source, and then I will be able to connect to that source and be able to have a preview of that. Okay, so also you can create ahead of time program templates. Okay, so those program templates will allow me to have different formats and templates ahead of time that I can use. Okay, so for example, we know that we are going to have show 1 or show 2, and that will be the way that I could be able to create a template. Okay, so that template could be used in the playout. Okay, on the left side, in the center side, I will have the playlist, different times for that playlist and different time for different elements. Okay, I will be able to click on the different events, different clips, and different medias, go under the events, and then I will be able to add different elements to those events. Okay, for example, I have a reference media, this CNN source, for example, here. Then I can click the plus button, and then I can select to have an underplay clip. That could be a live clip or live feed, or that could be a clip that I want to play under the reference media, and so on. Okay, you can do different things with different events. Okay, also we can add secondary events, right? And we can control by the secondary events, logos, crawls, and scatties, okay, messages, okay? And that is a way we will signal and include messages downstream in our content, okay? And that's way we monetize the content, okay? We signal the feed, the streams that it's coming out using SCADI signaling, okay? We can use different types of SCADI messages, okay? So if I select SCADI, then I can define this to be a program start, a program end, break start, break end, splicing, etc., okay? So that is a way that we include signaling into our channel system, okay? So going to the right side, I will be able to take the playlist directly and to start the playlist, right? And that will be the way that right away we will have our content into live distribution, okay? Again, this is a live feed, and right now it's going live into distribution, okay? So I also can, like Johnny was mentioning before, I can take to a breaking source, okay? So let's say something happened, and that will be a pack, right? A TVU1 pack or a TVU Anywhere application source. coming from a talent that had happened to be at that location or at that event, I will be able to include that as a source and then click directly into that source. Okay, so for example, let's say we have a different source, right? Then I'm going to select the source. Then I'm going to click on take breaking source, and it will switch directly to that source, and I will cover the breaking source, and my playlist in the center won't be affected by that. And then again, once that is over, I'm going to take the playlist. I'm going to go back to the playlist. Okay. I also can activate my CCs. Okay. If I have a logo, I can activate the logo. Okay. So that will include our bag to mark our content, our channel. Okay. I can also use scrolls, and I can also activate our external graphics. Okay. We do integrate with Singular and Flowix. Okay. So, or whatever URL graphics you may have, that also could be used by as an external graphics source. Okay, so you can also use graphics right away under inside your channel. Okay, going back just a few seconds to what we discussed about having a Google Calendar. This is going into Scheduler here, right? We were under Playout, going into Scheduler. That is this is a view that we will have, right? Like Google Calendar events, and that is the way that we will start populate different events, clips, medias, etc., etc. Okay, and again, it's gonna be drag and drop, okay, mode. So we can do this right manually in a manual base. So we can have an operator or a person that knows how the schedule gonna look like, or what is the schedule that we want to we need to have, and then that person can start creating the schedule in a manual way. Okay, but also can import schedule files from outside systems. Okay.
Just
so,
Fernando, if I may, just because I'm seeing also that we are running a bit behind the time, maybe the best way to finish and show them that schedule, like I mentioned before, this BTV example, do you have like available, like just to show them how like a schedule look like, for example, for what they did with their pop-up channel? Yeah,
that is an excellent thing. I have another workbench here, and I really want to thank Orioli Cat from BTV for sharing with us the actual channel instance that they use for La Merced event. Okay, and again, this is exactly the same. Okay, and I'm gonna enter in an offline mode so we can see the user interface they use. It's basically exactly the same. Okay, and yeah, what we can see here is that they use the channel to schedule a lot of content, right? Like we see here. And again, it is really a Google Calendar schedule, right? Pane. So this is gonna be like really easy, again, easy to use. And what we are showing here is the exact same schedule that the BTV used to distribute content. Not only the live content that they had during the shows, right, the events, but after the events, the way that, as JC mentioned, the way that they have to repeat the content throughout the days. Okay. So yeah, back to you, Fergal.
Okay, thanks very much, Fernando, and I really hope that we've given you a good overview of the OTT and fast-paced